Our guest is a remarkable woman who truly exemplifies the idea of living life to the fullest. Welcome back to our viewers as we welcome Solange. We are thrilled to have you here.
Thank you.
We ended up things on you giving us the sugary part and explaining that it's a spa, really. It's not only about
Yes.
hair removal. You just pivoted. We know you as a mother, as a wife, as a businesswoman, and now you are into fashion and modeling. How did that come about? Tell me.
Accidentally.
Okay. How did the accident happen?
So, Ariana, my eldest daughter,
Yeah.
was scouted by
Okay.
Masala Talent,
Okay. Yeah.
right? And in the interview, or like, the video call that they do kind of after, because, she wasn't of age or whatever, right?
Oh, yes.
With the parents and stuff like that, just to be like, okay, yeah, this is what we do, and maybe expectations, this, that, just to kind of run through like what it is to be a model or
Yes.
whatever, right? I was there with her, but unbeknownst to Paula, who heads Masala, me and Ariana had been speaking like that we wanted something to do together as mother and daughter.
Oh, that's neat.
Right? So I was like, okay, you want to go work out together?
Yes.
Like what is the one activity that we can
That
do,
we can do.
together? And then in the interview, Paula was like, so why don't you model? And
Really?
again, accidentally,
Yeah.
just by being on the video call. And I was like, I never saw myself as one. It's not like I'm very represented
You
out
are rocking
there.
it.
So she's like, psh, that's changing and all that kind of stuff
Yeah.
with the plus size modeling and all of that kind of stuff, body inclusivity, et cetera, right?
That's
And
good representation right there.
I was like, I just turned to Ariana because she was sitting there, I'm like, Ariana, so is this what you want to do together? She's like, sure.
Why not?
And I was like, oh my Lord, you need to help me. This shy girl's about to hit a stage. I don't know what that is. But I was like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
She wanted something. And I was like, okay, let's go.
Wow.
But did I ever see it, look for it or anything? No. It's something I stumbled upon, and that's kind of how
I like that
started.
you stumbled upon it, but it was a conversation between you and your daughter to say,
Yes.
what is it that we can do together?
Yeah.
And creating that bond, and this came about. That's so interesting. So do you see any connection between what you're doing with fashion and modeling
Yeah.
and your business and your mothering, and how does all these things that you do come together for you?
I think in all things is representation
Okay.
and setting an example.
Yes.
Even if that's you're not necessarily the first, you're still a trailblazer in ways, right? So if my children, especially my girls, can
Yeah.
see their mother
Yeah.
on a stage, rocking it, or as a business owner making it, or anything of the sort, these are all examples that I would like for them to see, to be like, I can do that.
That's right.
I can do that.
Yeah.
Or any other girl that looks at me and says, wow, if she can, maybe I can.
That's right.
Maybe my mark on this world, for as small or as big as it might be, because that's up to God,
Yes, that's true.
can still impact a little girl who's looking on ahead, who has never seen anybody who looks like
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
in those spaces,
Yes.
doing those specific things, and still being able to have a family where they still can see that the kids are healthy
Yes.
and they're well kept, or going to school, or etc. Where there's still that balance that's kind of happening, but she's showing up in different spaces and doing different things. Or the little girl that looks at herself in the mirror, especially in today's world, and looks at herself and like, oh, but I don't fit into maybe the beauty standard or
Yes.
something of the sort,
Yeah.
and can look and say, but no, neither does she,
According
but look
to
at
people's
her,
standard. Yes.
right? And so it's things like that, like
Yeah.
everything that I do, whether it's business, any choices I make in motherhood, is let them see that it's possible.
It is possible. And like they always say, you never know what things look like when you've never seen somebody do it.
Yeah.
And I like that you just decide, I'm going to be that role model and be vulnerable. When things don't go right, I will show you.
Yep.
It didn't go right. And you are not a tree. Move. Try something else.
It's true. It's true. Even though my personality is very like,
Yes, like,
I
I
don't
wanna
like change.
hide.
And where's my book and my cave?
Right? But you are not helping anybody when you do that.
No.
And when you realize that you were created for more, that's when you be like, I want to be a role model. I want to do all these things. But you don't only walk down the ramp and show us all these beautiful clothes. And I'm like, oh, I like that. Oh, I thought this was better than that. You also dance.
Yes.
How did we segue from that?
Dance was always there.
Okay. So where
Like-
did it come from? How did it start?
It's always been in the bones.
You're the one that makes us all look bad and they think all black people can dance and I can't.
And I was always that little girl who would dance. Like, so I guess for as long as I had feet, I've had dancing feet, right? We're Africans. We live in a musical and social
true, yeah.
environment, and dancing is very much a staple in our cultures, right? Body movement and all of
Yes.
these types of things. But I love expression. I always have. The music, drama, etc., etc. That's actually what I was going to go into as a degree
Okay.
initially, right? So it's just one of those things for me that's always inbuilt, like the creativity. I've expressed it in different ways growing up, but dancing has always been there. Whether it's I'm creating with my hands, weaving baskets in a boarding school, or doing woodwork and carving things out in another boarding school, you know, whatever it is.
And doing hair. You're so good at so many things. Like, I cannot believe this.
But it's the creativity side of things that God has put into me.
Yes.
Where, for me, music speaks a lot to me, right? Like, it moves my emotions and therefore it ends up moving my body with it. And so it's very, very natural. If I hear something, I see movement and already.
And then, yeah.
And it's
then we
just-
have a choreography right there.
Exactly. So it's like Ariana, she always tells me, she's like, Mom, you know you can choreograph anything. You already have it in your mind.
That's true.
You just have to hear the song. So she's like, oh, choreograph this. And in my mind, it's already there.
Yeah.
And so it's just something that came naturally to me. But again, it wasn't something that I kind of went into because I was going into it.
Yes.
I was in the midst of all my motherhood, in the midst of all my everything
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. And accidentally,
Then you find that
right?
I'm, in the midst of your motherhood, in the midst of starting a business, in the midst of all this,
Yeah.
how do you have time for yourself? As in who you are outside of what you do.
Yeah.
You know how when you meet people, the first thing, like they will tell you what they do before they tell you
Yes.
who they are.
Yes.
So we want to know, who are you? Not what you do.
I'm a girl who loves God first.
Yes.
First and foremost.
Yeah.
Right? I love myself too. So
Good
that
for you.
means that I take care of myself.
Yes.
Right? Because I love me
Yeah.
and I take myself out on dates. Right? That's a huge thing for me.
It is.
Right? Self-love for me is huge.
Yeah.
Right? So I lean into the things that I like in order to take care of myself.
That's so true.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't wait for it to happen. I make it happen because God has given me the ability to do
To
so.
do it. Yeah.
So I'm the girl who likes books,
Yeah.
right? I love learning.
Yeah.
I like, history. And so I watch documentaries.
So that's how you wind up. That's your downtime.
Yeah, my good like wind down is like put everybody to bed. It's all quiet, sit by myself in the dark if I have to,
Oh.
with the windows open and look at the stars. I love stargazing and
That is
looking
so
at the
cute.
moon and just like sitting there and just looking. Like the wonder of God's creation for me has always been the one place I will always find my peace.
Okay.
So if it was at night, I'd be out there somewhere gazing and looking like, wow, that's so pretty. If it was in the daytime and I could see the trees, then I'd find my peace looking at the trees and God's creation, just nature, to be like, wow, look at this tree. It's so tall, it's so big. Look at how beautiful it is. And I'd get lost in that and then start writing poetry and this and this and that, right? But
That's another part with you, poetry.
Yeah, so it's like grounding myself in nature and what God.
Yeah.
So it's like grounding.
Yes.
That's who
You are.
that's who I am.
Yeah.
Just that little girl who likes to be lost in nature somewhere over there, looking either at the sky or somewhere and just be like, wow, isn't this great? So
Solange, there's so many things that our young girls look at these days. The social media, they want there's TikTok videos and everything else.
Yep.
How would you like to be remembered?
I would
Especially by young girls.
I would like to be remembered as somebody who gave them a different perspective,
That's good.
or who reminded them that there's always a different perspective that could look at it.
Right.
That's it. That's all. If that's the only legacy I left, perspective.
Yeah.
Sometimes your perspective is one that's on the ground, but sometimes you need to go higher up
That's right.
to look at it from a different way.
Yes. Eagle's view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's things like that
Yeah.
I would be like, my daughter calls me the perspective queen.
That's good.
Right?
Right?
But it
And
saves
I like
you in
that
most
you're
situations than
instilling
most.
that in your girls.
Yeah.
Because sometimes somebody might not even meet you, but they will meet your girls.
Yes.
And what you put in them, it will
Yes.
show.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will.
I know we can sit here and talk forever, you and I. However, we still have to come back for more. We're not done with what you do and everything else. And for now, well, that's a wrap for today. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on all our social media platforms to keep the conversations going. Thank you for joining us on Conversations. Grace and peace be multiplied unto you and yours. Shalom.